I didn't want to press record, but I did. I was testing the camera and I said, okay, I have to show you this. These are amazing. There's a whole bunch of them here. And other spring flowers. Birds are back. These, oh my God, they're so beautiful. So yeah, I didn't want to press. Storks are back. Where is it? It's not a stork. Looks like one. I wanted to be smart, to prepare myself, what to talk about, be witty, share some wisdom. But it's not the case. Sometimes you just have to do it. Spontaneity, it's something that I ran away from most of my life, my teenage life, I might say, because as an introvert, like a seriously incurable introvert, I was always shying away from activities that might expose my my vulnerable side, you might say. So when I started acting, I was confronted with the necessity of being spontaneous. I was put in situations where I had to improvise. It was actually a skill that I need to learn. Unfortunately, we didn't have classes like you. There was not a course in improv, for example. And I somehow regret that we didn't have it. We used elements, we used some games, but it was not the main focus. Later on, after the stand-up comedy scene started to develop in Romania, my colleagues back then, who are now one of the top stand-up comedians in Romania, they actually brought the genre, they practiced their jokes with us, and now when I look back, I see how we were part of history in the making, because they were literally it's like a classic story of young talented artists who wanted to express themselves in a way that has never been done before. They were comedic actors. They had like monologues written for them in that style. There was this genre existed somehow in a particular form, but the classic stand-up comedy genre was brought by these guys. This is how I feel. Brought into the limelight. I mean, they made it popular. Isolated cases, yeah, you could find here and there, but they made it now in a genre. And they also brought improvisation with them as a form of exploring comedy, and that became also popular. So I never got the chance to work in that field because I worked in state theater, and there you had you were working with directors. I didn't have time to explore that, but I got the opportunity to work with artists who were prolific in this genre, and I had the opportunity to experience myself in a couple of occasions this type of making a performance, creating a performance. So one of the breakthroughs for me in theater was a show called Doi și un tulnic. I don't know how to translate it. It's like two individuals and tulnic, which is also hard to translate. It's an instrument similar to the Alpenhorn, you might say. It's a long piece. It's like 2 meters of wood cut and sculpted, so it's an hollow tube. It's like an expanded didgeridoo. It makes a really specific sound. It's a really specific sound. It's quite impressive, and it was used by shepherds in the region of Romania to communicate, basically by their wives, to communicate news across the valleys. And they had specific songs for good news, for bad news, for alarms, when danger was in sight. So it was a means of communicating. And in this show, hello Alex, hello Misha, hello Chris. This is the team, amazing artists. I love you guys. It was an amazing opportunity to share the stage with you guys. I love small teams. They can be super creative, and small teams are forced to rely on their ability to adapt and improvise and create something out of nothing. And this text was written by Alex, and he came with the proposition to me and said, we want you to play tulnic. Me and Misha are going to have scenes, and we want you to have the soliloquies, the interventions between the scenes, and that's the tulnic character, who's like a messenger, who's like a raisonneur. He has his own view of the world, between the worlds. He's connecting all these worlds. So we had a tight deadline, and I'm not. My memory is shit. I cannot memorize text. This was the worst part in acting for me, trying to memorize text. I hated monologues. But I loved to express somehow ideas that I had inside of me. Like you see, this is a monologue, but it's not scripted. That's why for me it's fun. And I told Alex at one point, bro, I panicked because the premiere was there, knocking at the door, breathing in our neck, and I was like, oh shit, man, I don't know the text, I don't feel well prepared. I was panicking. And he said, bro, we signed the contract for this show, and it was not the idea of signing a paper contract that we have to deliver the show. It was like a moral contract that we signed for us to have this show in that specific date. And he said, maybe there is a person in the audience who will come that day and that day alone, and that person needs to hear what you have to say. And that put a perspective into me, and I said, okay, fuck it, whatever happens, I'm just gonna do it, even if because what could happen? You will not going to die. People will not kill you because you messed up. It's basically your reputation. It's your ego who reacts, who doesn't want to feel shame, who doesn't want to feel like, okay, now I'm going to make a fool of myself. And we're so afraid of being ridiculous in front of other people that this paralyzes all our creativity. So we did the show. It was a mess. It was a complete mess from my side because we were not prepared. But it generated a type of energy and of adrenaline that I never felt before, because it was the first time that I experienced this type of excitement in being hyperactive in my brain to find solutions. Okay, I slightly remember, because if you are not fully prepared, like I was not, you tend to forget even when you know the lines. I mean, even if you rehearsed for 2 months, you tend to forget and you panic because you might not remember what to do. But in my case, I was not prepared at all, so I for sure was about to forget stuff. And I did. I was like freezing, my brain was freezing in the middle of the sentence sometimes because I didn't remember the exact phrase, you know. And I was so obsessed with it because I worked with a director who was a fault finder, you might say. He was such a control freak that he would have you after the premiere, he would make a meeting with everybody and he would have his assistant reading all the times when you messed up your lines. It was horrible. It was like you were dead tired. Like you were like, oh, I just want to go have a beer and sit with my friends. They are waiting outside. We just finished this show and I have to listen for 1 hour this guy reading all the times I messed up. I know where I messed up, bro. I was there. I messed up. I know where I messed up. Let me be. So I was like obsessed, and I had that almost a repulsion in doing something wrong. I don't know. It was not. So this show comes, and I mess up, of course, but my brain goes into this. It switches something in the brain, and now I'm like, okay, I still have to say something, and I connect with the audience, and something comes up, and I connect with that thing that comes up there, and then I go further. I lose my thought again, and then I connect again with a person in the audience, and something else comes up from the audience, connected to the show, of course, but there were things that were from me. Something emerged from the inside and said, okay, say this, talk about this. And it was an amazingly thrilling experience. And at the end of the day, I still haven't learned those lines. Bro, Alex, not until this day, I don't really understand how this happened, but I never learned those lines. Neither did you. Did you guys? Misha, maybe more than you, but you, for sure, you were improvisé, mes amis, improvisé. And you wrote the text, bro. So, along the span of the show, of us playing the show, something amazingly beautiful emerged because we became so organic and we started rejoicing in this thrill of being present in the moment, of knowing, like slightly knowing where we should be, where we should go, but having this thrill of being creative and spontaneous and taking from the audience as much as we could and incorporating the show. And it became, of course, it varied. Sometimes we had better shows than others, but this is not the point. The point was the sense of freedom that this generated. And that broke the shackles of my mind, and I'm super grateful for you guys for giving hope. You're gonna watch this video and you're gonna take this as a token of my gratitude, and also as a sign that you will always be part of me. And this is what human experiences do: connect people through certain experiences, and those experiences become part of who you are, thus having those people always with you. And this is what happened with this show and with you guys. And I felt this is worth sharing, how important it is to allow yourself to make mistakes, because those mistakes might open a door for something greater, for something that you never knew you had as a tool, as a gift inside you. And now I'm free of that, and I can speak freely without being afraid of making a mistake, of being ridiculous or whatever, you know. So thank you for this opportunity. And yeah, that's a crazy beautiful show. Crazy beautiful show. Hopefully I can find a sound, a tulnic sound, so you can hear it. Oh my God, what an instrument. What an instrument. That sounds, it sounds primordial, it sounds archaic, because literally you are sending vibrations, you're creating the sound inside a hollow tree, a fir tree. And it was also mystical. It had something mystical inside that show. Many times the angel came. We say this in theater, that when everything synchronizes and things come together, people harmonize, and the show has a powerful impact inside of the actors, but and this reflects also in the spectators. We have this feeling that we say that the angel descended. And yeah, the angel descended many times on this show. Yeah, nice going down the memory lane. Yeah, what can I say? Stay grounded, walk straight. I'm looking at myself in this tiny screen just to frame it, to be sure that it's correctly framed. I'm not off, because now, as you know, I'm not always prepared, and sometimes I'm off. I don't have that sensor track motion activated. So yeah, sometimes you need to be more free, man. See, that motion capture sensor that would keep me in the middle of the frame doesn't give me enough freedom. Seems like just press record and go. Interesting. now I can connect with you. Thank you for listening to my rants. Hope you get value from this. And yeah, stay grounded and walk straight.